men's need for sex and the damage it causes. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. The impact that impacts trust, carrying the load, manipulation, boundaries, and covert contracts, the emergency poop story, erectile dysfunction, men's need for sex and the damage it causes. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. I don't know where this is going to go, but my wife last night was
What was I doing last night?
Very frustrated after being on a call with a lot of women. I don't remember, it was a large amount of women, all learning about how Kathryn can help. And I don't know if triggered's the word.
It definitely reignited some anger. Yeah, it reignited some anger. Actually, I said, I love working with women, but I think my exact words were, I hate talking to women because it makes me hate men.
Yeah, Kathryn, I don't know if you recall this or not, but Kathryn expressed explicitly, like, why do all men think or do whatever with sex? There was a couple lines, like why do you like why are you entitled or whatever? I can't even remember because my mind was like, whoa, she is like, right? And
I was fired up.
Yeah, and guys, just so you know, like I teach you this in the program, she just needed to get it out, man. I had nothing to say, nothing to fix. I just started asking a couple questions. I didn't even go. What's that?
You said, are we okay right now? I think he was a little bit afraid because I said I hate all men, which I don't. I actually talk to a lot of the men before they get into the program. Mm-hmm. The men's calls are my favorite calls. I love hearing their side because it's a lot softer than what I hear from the women. So it makes me really care for the men that come into the program. So it's really good for me. But when I got off the phone with these women, I was like, I hate all men. I hate men. And he was like, oh shit.
I mean, guys, your minds will go in a million different directions. I asked if we were okay in a kind of a cute way because
he was cute.
Because I just wanted to soften it. I had lots of questions I could ask, and I thought we could do that today because she's not in that state.
Oh, okay, yeah, good. So we'll do it on the podcast live. Yes.
But
good job.
Good like the first thing I think of is like, if you guys recall, I think Kathryn mentioned it recently on one of the podcasts, but she was like one of our, or maybe it was on a coaching call, I heard you say it, but one of the very first fights we had was about like, I was trying to get validation for being a great guy and doing all these wonderful things for Kathryn. And she's like, well, that's normal. Meaning she dated other guys, unfortunately, that...
What? No other guys, none.
That had treated her well, okay? And so when I heard a comment like that with all men, I hate all men, and what they're doing to their wives with this entitlement to sex and all this stuff, it made me start to think like, are we okay? In a cute way, I said it, but because like what I meant was I could tell she was feeling probably a lot of what I had done to her. And so what I want you to take from this right now is the very first thing is, and then we'll get into what Kathryn's going at, but the very first thing to take from that is like, there's nothing to fix in the moment. Right now she's feeling whatever she's feeling, and I need to be just there for her, okay? And when I did the cute, are we okay thing, it was really because I needed to know if she's feeling really triggered about how I used to be, then I needed to be prepared to be there for her, okay? Now, everything was totally fine. She said a few things, but now I want to hear where your mind was really at. So what's going on when you're talking to these women and this gives you this reaction?
I think it's multifaceted because Cass teaches men how not to be pouty when they don't get sex, how not to make rude comments.
Expect no sex, for example.
Right. And don't make stupid comments. Like the one that really I always remember is when, a man's cutting the turkey, which Thanksgiving is coming up, and this is the most breast I'm going to get this year, or whatever stupid comment.
That's a passive-aggressive remark that I heard from my father growing up. He would say to my wife every night.
Your wife.
Oh, gross.
His wife.
His wife every night, which is my mom, right?
So one of the women that I talked to, one of the things that the husband said was, oh, so you started your period. I'm sure you're super happy about that, because he knew that she wasn't going to want to be with him. And she described, their situation was so similar to ours. So I've spoken to a lot of women in the last few days, but it was so similar just with the way that he would act and the way that he would accuse her of, I told you that my sex drive was high, and like, what's wrong with you? Are you broken? Like all these stupid fucking things that men say to women, when it reminded me of when we would get in a fight and I knew that he wanted more intimacy. He wanted more closeness. And the phrase I would say to him was, in almost every fight, this is not helping. And I was really gentle in the beginning. I didn't start yelling until years. I was yelled at for years before I started yelling.
That's true.
And I remember the first time I yelled at you, actually, and
I was like, what the fuck?
He was like, is that how I sound? And I was like, no, you're way worse than that. But he was blown away that I had just yelled at him. because I was at my limit, and that's when I started yelling back and I started getting really frustrated. But it blows me away that these men, there's women, and they need to be more intentional. And I understand it because we lived it, we got through it. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. He obviously didn't know what he was doing. Everybody that's struggling with this, none of you know what you're doing.
You guys are expected to be men and women in a relationship, and you were never fucking shown. First of all, you ain't having this conversation with your parents as you're growing up and learning how to do these things. Well, we would teach differently than that. I'm not saying have this conversation with your little children.
No.
Okay? But there's certainly things that they can see.
But there's a level of,
yes.
They can see physical intimacy that's hugs and kisses and all kinds of things like that. That's healthy. You let them watch shooting on TV probably, and you won't let them see you kiss. What in the world?
Exactly.
So anyway, she was talking about how eventually she'll just give into it because then it'll help him from being so angry. Like, it was just so much. I had so much internal turmoil. Number one, I felt so sad for her because I've been there, and I remember how devastating that is for your soul to have to protect yourself by giving your husband your body when you go into marriage thinking you are going to give your husband your body. That's part of marriage.
And then giving means gift.
That's right.
But what she's talking about is like what I used to do, same as a lot of you guys, going at your wife entitled because you're married. That's not a gift.
I told you what I needed. It's taking, and you can accept a gift and not forcefully take a gift. And it's a gift. And if you're in the opposite situation and you don't have a high sex drive and your husband does, and he's giving it to you as a gift, stop being so fucking entitled. Work together. So anyway, these women that I've been talking to, it's mind-blowing how many people have the same story that we have and how many people are actually using it to protect themselves from rage, from narcissism, from comments that you should never even say anything like that to your wife, especially if you're trying to get her into bed. Like, what are you thinking? And then she has sex with you to prevent you from saying something stupid the next time. Why do you think she's having sex with you now? To protect her own heart.
This is a good time to remind you guys.
See, I'm getting fired up again. It makes me so angry, guys.
This is a good time to remind you guys of what this looks like, okay? Whether you're a man or a woman, whoever's got the high sex drive traditionally shuts down, pouts, and gets angry. If you're like me, you got fucking angry, rageful, and abusive, okay? It doesn't matter, any level of those. Not one is better or worse than the other. I know you're thinking the rage is worse. Actually, they all do the same thing to the person who doesn't want sex. But keep in mind, many of you will try to talk about it first, okay? And that's when you start to say things like, well, should we have your hormones checked out? And, is there something that I can do? I'm not sure why you don't want me. See, all of that is creating guilt and shame. Why would Kathryn want to feel guilty and ashamed for me for not being able to meet my needs? Also, not moving the next direction. Go ahead.
Pause. Keep in mind, in the situations that we're talking about, yes, those conversations happen gently after years of you fucking raging on her and being a fucking toddler about not having sex.
The other way around, though.
When you have most of the time, it doesn't happen in a gentle conversation first.
I disagree. You start with talking. You start with, baby, why? Like, well, why don't you want sex tonight? The first rejection.
I've experienced that. That's not what ours was like. And then the women I talk to, it also isn't.
Okay, but
the when you talk to feel like they've been gentle first.
Yeah,
I'll let the man speak. I'm the one that's getting fired.
I think we don't know. We don't know, and you might not even remember because your perception is going to skew the perspective right now.
I remember the first time I told you no.
Well,
the very first time.
Don't base the world on me, okay?
No, but for this episode, we do need to base the world on you.
Okay.
Because that's what this whole thing is about. The men that are like you and the women that are like me, that's why we have the audience that we have, because people are afraid to talk about it.
Well, then you guys are assholes.
You guys are
raging
assholes.
on your wife and then trying to be soft and loving. That's you and the nice guy triangle.
Exactly.
Okay? And you're literally trying to guilt your wife.
Way too many people resonate with our story for us to pussyfoot around it and talk about what normal people do. Because we weren't normal, and neither are most of you that are watching. So it's really important for you to recognize, oh yeah, I thought I was being nice, but what did you do before you were nice?
Yeah, I can get on board with that. And then
because she said no for a reason, and it wasn't just that she was tired. There was a reason that she said no the first time that she said no, and she said no multiple times, and then however you acted made her start doing it, and then you started to notice that she was doing it. It was job sex. That's when you started to get angrier. Her job sex bled out because it was now an obligation. That's how a lot of you have experienced your sex life.
No. That's how all of you go through it. Whether or not there's rage or extreme anger, or we're right on when it started with the conversations turning to, or the rage, and then you're coming back and you're trying to be different and soft. It doesn't matter. If somebody has sex and doesn't want to, so whether you guilt them, shame them, yell at them, shut down, ditch on your responsibilities, talked to a man like that today on the phone who joined the program, all of those things make her do something she doesn't want to do. This could be flip-flop, by the way. It's just more common for men doing it to women, okay? But so that means, like, just like the real world, if she has sex, which is what it's called when someone rapes you, it's intercourse, okay? It just ain't consensual, which makes it rape. It's the same feeling. So you can be soft and loving. There was plenty of times I just really want to have a loving conversation with Kathryn, all surrounded with how great I am, why she should want me. All of these things were making her, feel guilty to lay there, right? To just shut me up, open her legs. And then there was the times, of course, when she's afraid. You've heard me talk about fear sex. Sex was safer than the anger and outbursts that I would have if I didn't, okay? This is why it hurts so much for Kathryn, okay? When she's speaking to these women, she's having to relive. And she's saying, all men. It's because there's so many of us. Listen, everybody gets on a call.
And I'd like to interject when you finish your thought.
That's okay, go.
So I just want to interject because he said, you have the loving conversation. You do. I want to remind you all that if you're watching this podcast and you're not in our program, you probably don't know how to have a loving, validating conversation. When he says that he had a loving conversation, he didn't have the skills back then. So in his mind, his perception at the time, what it was loving compared to rage, but it was not loving.
Oh, John, that's why I said where I talked about how much I loved her.
Right.
That's defensiveness. If you have to talk about yourself, you're defending yourself.
And your feelings,
even if you're loving,
the feelings will bleed out. So the entitlement, the same way I said the job sex, the obligation will bleed out. Your husband will know that you feel obligated. Your wife will know what feelings you feel when you're having this gentle and loving conversation, because until you have the tools to learn how to have that conversation, it's not gentle and loving. Your agenda comes first, not she comes first. Your agenda comes first, and she can tell. So until you have those skills, don't consider yourself someone who's had a gentle conversation. And he's admitting to the fact that he tried to have a gentle conversation. I'm saying it wasn't gentle. He didn't know how. The same way that my intention to keep our sex life alive, he knew that there was more going on than just me being intentionally loving. It was job sex. That's why we are so good at what we do. I can identify with him that he wasn't actually loving me. He can identify with me that I wasn't actually doing it intentionally to love him. It bleeds out. So moving forward, I'm going to let you. So you said every coaching call or something you were going to talk about, men.
I was going to say, you guys, you don't know what you don't know. Every coaching call, initial intake call, I'm not sure what my team does, okay, but when I have a call, it's clear. I'm like, so you just really didn't have a good role model. See, keep in mind, I don't let you talk about your past and your childhood and all this shit. Go to fucking therapy, man. I want to move you, okay? So by the time I ask that question, they're like, yes! And it's like a light bulb for themselves, right? And I'm not saying they didn't know beforehand, but what I'm saying is you didn't know. You don't know. And the damage that it causes is that it literally puts a wall building brick by brick. Every conversation, every outburst, every time you retaliate with shutting down and ditching your responsibilities, when you go cope with whatever you need to cope with, whenever you say, you think you're not being defensive and you think you're being so loving, but you're talking about why they should want you, defending yourself. Kathryn says it all the time. When you defend yourself, which by the way, in a conversation where you're trying to prove your worth and their desire should be there, okay? That's defending really yourself. Kathryn will tell you, really sexy.
Really sexy when you defend yourself. So your mouth opens. And
your ears shut. In fact, what if her mouth opens? Now you're fucked. That's when Kathryn yelled the first time, right? You guys don't understand the damage that it causes is it's not something you can't overcome. I mean, look at us. Okay?
Yeah, you can overcome it. You just need to be vulnerable enough and aware enough to say, oh, this is me. And then say, how do I dig myself out of this terrible hole that I've dug? And
we're going to give you some hints on that in a few episodes we're going to film today. One of them is going to be unlocking safety and intimacy comes with. Okay, we'll talk about that. But right now, I just want you to know this. What is the damage? You're creating a sexless marriage. That's what it is. It's not 6 months or less like the clinical definition of what they say. That's not what we believe. What we have learned and what we teach, and we created this knowledge of job sex, pity sex, fear sex, all of these things. You notice we never talk about, what do they call it when you have sex after a fight? What do they call it? Because I don't do that.
We don't fight very much anymore. So
you just
makeup sex.
Makeup sex. Thank you.
Makeup sex. Thank you.
I don't even include that when I talk about the types of sex. Why? Because you should never have that. right? The conflict that you could hear about us having would bring us closer. The sex is the byproduct. You're not trying to fuck your like with a Band-Aid to fix everything. And that's what you guys are doing when you're fighting for more sex. What's the damage? You're trying to put a Band-Aid on the fact that you don't feel loved. Sex will never do that for you. It'll never make you whole. Never. And in fact, the damage comes out where I look at Kathryn and go, are we okay? Right? Because it's still there. You guys are you want what we have, and you know that sometimes we're like totally surprised. We remember a story, we're like, holy fuck, what about that? How did Ryan act that time? My old me, right? The reason is simple, because we stopped putting Band-Aids on it and started to go to the real issues, right? Like she said, it's not that she's too tired. There's plenty of times you're too tired and you're there for me. It's intentional.
That is with love. Actually caring that my husband is satisfied and actually appreciating the fact that he still has eyes for me. You might say, well, he should have eyes for me. You know what? He should. But you know what? I appreciate that he does. That's why I give myself to him. We don't have the same desire. And some of you need to recognize that. You're never going to have the same desire ever again. Very few people, it's like 2% of couples have the same desire. Well, good for you.
Yeah, you're just lucky. Most of you will have to compromise. Some of you will have to be patient, waiting for their desire to because it'll go up and down. It's like Mine
goes up and down.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like my desire is a literal fucking roller coaster. And a lot of you are probably just like me. You're in your 40s. You've had some kids. You've had your hormones tested. You might be on hormone replacement. There's all kinds of variables. There's stress. There's sleep. All kinds of things. I can't tell you if I'm going to want him in 5 minutes or 5 days. I cannot tell you. What I can tell you, though, is my mindset has shifted, and I want to be there. In the times that my desire is low and his is high, I absolutely want to be his vessel.
But I don't do what I used to do. I don't do what we talked about with this episode, right?
Because then it would become job sex for me. And we have determined that we're just not doing that anymore.
Just not.
It's safe for me to say no. It's safe for me to, I even said really recently, I was having a hard time while we were in the act. And he wanted to do some things that I was like, I don't really think I'm ready for that. And he was like, oh, okay. And we just carried on with doing whatever it is. You guys are all like, what were they doing?
Well,
that's
not what this camera is for.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's safe that I can say no. It's safe that I can say, I'm here for you today, baby, or I'm not quite ready for that. So when you can create that safety, it makes it safe for not only for you as a woman or whoever's in the position that's maybe the lower desire, but it's also safe for the man, because then you're creating an atmosphere where he can feel confident what to expect.
Not only that, but those days that Kathryn is like heightened desire,
then it's dangerous territory.
No, it's not dangerous at all. Fuck, do whatever you want. But those days come because the safety is created.
Correct.
In the other days, the other moments, no conversations, no poutiness, no frustration. You know, I actually sent Kathryn a message this morning and was like, with an aircraft coming in for a landing, and said something about, I really want my wife today. Right. And she said, baby, I'm not feeling well. And if you need me, I'm there for you. I need you to initiate it.
I said, I'm struggling for the last few days. I'm not going to initiate. All you need to do is ask. I'm going to leave initiating to you. And that gives him very clear, he can ask for as much as he wants, basically. He's not going to abuse that and ask for it 3 times a day when he knows I'm not feeling well.
Oh yeah, 3 times today. We're also going to do anywhere I want.
But also, I've said, thank you for the mercy. I'm not feeling well. The ball is in your court. I'm 100% here for you. I think that's real safety right there.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, she doesn't have to freak out, and also she knows I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, I don't want to go any further with this because let's talk more on that other episode I'm talking about. It's coming up in the next few. Guys, don't forget, Masterclass live November 22nd, us live. You can be with us. You can go through the exact keys to how you can move past some of this stupid shit, because who doesn't want to be more connected and intimate? Okay, not just sex, but all of it. Okay, and we're going to take your questions. We're going to dial into your relationship, and if you want, there's a VIP dinner. You can join us. This is going to be a limited amount of couples where you can join us. If you're a couple, you're rocky, only one of you's on board, you can come by yourself. You can come learn, and you can be the one that changes everything in your life.
And we just slashed the pricing.
Oh yeah.
So this is the best time to jump in.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had that idea, but thank you for that. He likes to give me credit. But we slashed the pricing, and what people say when they meet us, so you guys are seeing us on the podcast, we've been told this, who we say we are and who we are on camera, which is really exciting because when you guys ask us questions, we're going to answer you with the same level of candid nature and transparency that we talk about on the podcast.
What you love on the podcast, but it's geared towards exactly what you want.
Exactly.
Okay?
So we'll see you there.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, morrowmarriage.com/masterclass.
Oh, yeah.
All right. See ya.
Bye.